If you want to be a top Clash Mini player, knowing how to master your deck is not enough. You also need to know when to use a special tile in different matchups and what to use it on. Pro players spend hours trying to figure out these special tile strategies, but today I'll share all of them in a few minutes. Starting with the revive tile. In 99% use cases, use the tile, even versus Prince or Fisherman, because your troop can revive, so it's worth being hit by Clash abilities. Now you might ask, what is good on the revive tile? Well, you can put tanks in front if it's in the front row, because if you kill a mini that can revive, it does not activate Boast. So this is a good way to counter Royal Champion and the Skeleton King. Speaking of the Skeleton King, if you place your level 8+ Skeleton King, level 4+ if you're watching this after the balance changes, he gets a soul from the tile, so it's as if he killed a mini. You can also place the Prince on the revive tile, so if you miss and he gets killed in the back line, he can revive and deal damage to the ranged minis again. This is especially useful against the Skeleton King. You can also place the Archer there to counter the enemy Archer, and the Barb and the Dark Goblin can keep their high attack speed after reviving. Those are great options too. Next we have the healing tile. This is one of the less impactful tiles in the game, so if there's anything of concern such as the Prince, it is best to avoid the tile. But if they have anything like Spirit Goblin or even a Bowler, you don't have much to worry about, because your mini can just heal back up to full HP because of the healing tile, right? So except they max out the Spirit Goblin or they upgrade the Bowler to the 2nd star, you can feel free to put your troop on the healing tile even if they got those 2 minis. But if your healing tile is on the 2nd row, then it could be pretty worthless, because if you're gonna place another mini in the 1st row, the heal won't do anything because the mini on the healing tile won't receive any damage. Now we got the Archer Queen player's nightmare, the shell tile. This is a very different tile, so now you're asking whether it's worth it to sacrifice a part of your melee push to infiltrate the backline, so instead of the Clash ability issue. So my advice here is that don't put your minis on there every round. This should be a surprise factor. And you should use the fear of your enemy to your advantage. For example, if your shell tile is on your left, then you should put your Clash abilities on the right hand side, because you know your enemy is not going to want to put their ranged minis near the shell tile. Some minis that are very good on the shell tile are the Valkyrie because of his spin attack, the Swordsman especially with his 3rd star, the Skeleton King to collect souls, and the Mega Knight or the Royal Champion as a surprise, and the Golden Giant 1st star to defend versus the Royal Champion and the Giant Skeleton. Now things to not send over are Clash abilities because they won't be activated. This includes the Monk level 4 ability and the Magic Archer's 3rd star. And to fully utilize the tile, you can also place the Miner on the other side of the shell tile, so the enemies can't escape from minis coming to their backline. And now we got the Electro Tile. This is agreed by the pros as the worst tile in Clash Mini. They are quite useless if you're playing Barbarian King or Skeleton King or Shield Maiden, but in general it is worth the risk for ranged minis such as the Ewis, if protected with tanks in front. Because even if a Bowler hits the mini, it can still charge faster with the Electro Tile. The tile is not as good with tanks though, except the Mega Knight, because tanks don't rely on their super as much. And for heroes, it can be great for the counters, the Monk and the Royal Champion if you protect those heroes correctly. And if it's in the front row, the Wave Master might be worth the risk. Last but certainly least, we got everybody's nightmare, the Mirror Tile. This is honestly quite hard for me to cover because you really need to get the gist of the Mirror Tile matchups to be good at it. Now first thing first, if the enemy is running a Clash deck, I pray for you. Mind games are extremely important against Clash decks in Mirror, so make yourself unpredictable. And before I cover more in-depth stuff, let's talk about the basics. Normally, Mirror clones minis on the right. If the right hand side is blocked, it's going to clone on the left, and if both left and right hand sides are blocked, it's going to clone on the back, and if all those 3 are blocked too, then they'll clone in the front. Now if the tile is in the front row, I will go for a giant skeleton for the double bomb, or the mini P.E.K.K.A to burst through tanks, or the prince for extra pressure. In these scenarios, I will be careful of clash abilities such as the royal champion or the skeleton king. But if your mirror tile is in the 3rd or 4th row, then I will just clone my ranged mini carry. These can include the royal champion, the archer, and the magic archer. And if you are running skeleton king, always put skeleton king on mirror, even if the tile is like towards the back, because you can get insane value with the skeleton king on mirror, especially if the clone gets a kill, because it's gonna be revived with more HP than he originally started with. This, honestly, if you're playing SK Clash on a mirror map, you are almost guaranteed to win. Now tell me what special tile you struggle with the most, and I wanna give a big thank you for all these pros who helped in this video. They provided a lot of insight, so I could not have done this video without them. And if this video hits 50 likes, I will bring all of them back to another strategy video, so you can get the best pro tips. But in order to be a real pro in Clash Mini, you not only need to learn the special tiles, but also what minis are good and bad to use in the meta. And for that, you need to watch this tier list video.